He thought it was just another routine day, a normal street, normal people, nothing out of place, but in a split second, everything changed. A man in uniform stepped forward, his anger sharp, his judgment blind. The world around her blurred as fear gripped her chest. She had done nothing wrong, yet danger found her anyway. Every step felt heavier, every second stretching into a lifetime. And then, just when it seemed the worst was about to happen, a twist no one could have predicted. Who would have imagined that the person she feared most held a secret that would turn everything upside down? It was an ordinary morning when she walked into the office, the hum of computers and distant chatter filling the air. She had earned her position through years of hard work, late nights, missed weekends, and relentless determination. Colleagues admired her professionalism, though some envied it silently. Outside the office, life was just as structured. The same commute, the same coffee shop on the corner, the same polite nods to familiar faces. Nothing seemed out of place, but beneath the surface, tension lingered, an unspoken hierarchy, a bias that had always been there but never fully revealed. Some people assumed her success came easily, while others resented it. And today, without warning, those hidden judgments were about to erupt in a way she never expected. She adjusted her bag, unaware that the very person sworn to uphold the law was about to cross a line, testing not only her strength but the limits of justice itself. Every step toward the elevator felt heavier, every glance more pointed, as if the world around her was holding its breath. Something was coming, and she could feel it in her bones, though she had no idea just how shocking it would be. She stepped out of the office building, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows across the sidewalk. Normally, her walk to the parking lot was uneventful, just the familiar sounds of city life, the occasional honk, the chatter of people heading home. But today felt different. A car slowed near the curb, its engine idling like a predator circling prey. She kept walking, telling herself she was imagining things. Then he appeared, a man in uniform, his posture rigid, eyes sharp and unyielding. She barely had time to register his presence before he was moving toward her, his steps deliberate, heavy, and filled with authority. She instinctively clutched her bag tighter, a small shield against the unease crawling up her spine. She had seen discrimination before, not in person, but in headlines, whispered conversations, and subtle glances, but never like this, never aimed directly at her. "Ma'am, stop right there," he barked, his voice cutting through the hum of the city. Her heart leapt. She froze, her mind racing. She had done nothing wrong, nothing at all. Yet, in that moment, she felt the weight of judgment, invisible but suffocating. The people around glanced briefly, some indifferent, some curious, none. Stepping in, he reached for her arm. A wave of fear surged through her, but also something else, anger. How dare he assume he had the right to control her, to intimidate her, simply because of her skin, simply because she dared to exist in a world he thought he owned. She tried to pull back, but his grip was firm, his authority overwhelming. The world felt suspended, time stretching into a cruel infinity. Onlookers started to gather, phones came out, faces blurred in a mix of judgment, confusion, and passive observation. She wanted to scream, to demand justice, but the fear was real. One wrong move could escalate the situation into something irreversible. And yet, amidst the chaos, she sensed a glimmer of something unexpected, an awareness from someone in the crowd, a spark that maybe, just maybe, the power dynamic wasn't entirely one-sided. Then came the moment that made her stomach drop. His expression faltered, a hint of recognition flashing across his face. Something clicked. He hesitated. The tension hung thick in the air, as if the world itself had paused to see what would happen next. And just as quickly, the situation teetered on the edge, the outcome uncertain. Who truly held control in that moment? The man in uniform, or the woman he had underestimated? Every second stretched, the city noise fading into the background. Every breath was a countdown. And then, just when the tension reached its peak, the twist that no one could have predicted was about to unfold, turning fear into disbelief, and anger into something far more shocking. The man's grip tightened on her arm, his face contorted with a mix of anger and authority. She struggled, heart pounding, every instinct screaming that this was wrong, that she didn't deserve this treatment. Passers-by had stopped, their whispers and phone cameras surrounding them like a spotlight, yet no one intervened. The injustice was raw, visible, and suffocating. Then it happened. A flicker of recognition crossed his eyes. Something about her stance, her composure, the very way she carried herself, it unsettled him. Confusion replaced some of his aggression, but the tension didn't ease. If this moment had been any other day, any other woman, the outcome could have been catastrophic. But today, fate had something else in store. She met his gaze steadily, refusing to shrink or apologize for existing. Her presence, her defiance, was a challenge he hadn't anticipated. And in that instant, The harshness of the world collided with an unexpected truth. He hesitated, uncertainty breaking through his arrogance. Then the revelation hit, not just for him, but for everyone watching. The woman he had targeted, threatened, and underestimated, was his boss. The authority he wielded like a weapon suddenly shifted. Shock rippled across the crowd, and even he faltered, the realization burning through him. With undeniable force, fear, humiliation, and disbelief coursed through the air as the situation teetered on the edge of chaos. For a moment, it wasn't just a confrontation, it was a mirror reflecting bias, privilege, and the consequences of underestimating someone based on skin color. Every breath was a countdown, every heartbeat a lesson carved into reality. And just as the world seemed frozen in that impossible tension, the question hung heavier than ever: would this moment change him, or would it simply be another story of injustice narrowly averted? The answer was about to unfold, but the impact of this instant, the raw, unfiltered collision of fear, anger, and revelation, would linger far longer than anyone could imagine. The tension broke in an instant. The man's stance shifted, the authority he had wielded so recklessly now replaced by hesitation and disbelief. She withdrew her arm calmly, her composure unshaken, while the crowd around them exhaled collectively, a mixture of relief and awe. The incident ended not with violence, but with a revelation that left everyone, including him, confronting a truth they could no longer ignore. For her, the encounter left more than relief. It left a stark reminder of the fragile line between fear and injustice. The city streets were no less dangerous, the biases no less pervasive, but she had survived, and in doing so, she had forced a man to recognize his own prejudice in the harshest possible light. Her courage, quiet yet unwavering, became a testament to the resilience required to navigate a world still riddled with discrimination. Beyond this single encounter, the story reflects a wider reality. Countless individuals face fear, judgment, and violence simply for existing as themselves. Each moment of bias, each assumption based on skin color, chips away at the promise of equality. And yet, moments like this reveal the power of accountability, of awareness, and of refusing to be diminished by hate. The question remains for all who witness it: how often do we allow injustice to go unchallenged, and how often do we forget the humanity of those targeted by it? Stories like hers are not isolated. They are mirrors reflecting society's ongoing struggle with bias, inequality, and the urgent need for empathy. As she walked away, unbroken and determined, the lesson lingered: courage is not only in surviving injustice, it is in demanding recognition, accountability, and change. And the world can't afford to look away. How many more times will we stand by before we confront the truth staring us in the face?